What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. Speaking of Mickey Loomis, he addressed the media at the NFL Combine and said about Derek Carr, quote, I think we feel like we've got a guy we can win with, and we're excited about that. It's about as tepid of an endorsement as I could write, but still an endorsement nonetheless, letting you know that Derek Carr will be the New Orleans Saints quarterback next year.
I think I feel.
Yeah, I think I feel, right? I think I feel we've
Well,
got
I think
a
I
guy.
feel like I can still bench press a lot of weight, and then I get under it, and I realize I can't.
Hey, Tay-Tay did 225 6 times. It's pretty damn strong.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying,
Tay-Tay.
dude. I don't think the average person could walk under 225 and do it once, much
Hell
less
no,
six.
they couldn't.
So,
Well done, Tay-Tay.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank
do you
you.
even lift?
It was, yeah.
Like you do? Like you lift weights? I didn't know that. I don't think.
Oh, you should have said no.
I go
That'd been
twice a
more
week.
impressive.
Oh, you go twice a week?
Mhm.
Impressive, dude. I'm proud of you.
I wish I was an everyday guy. I'm not. I'm busy, guys.
That's an old. It's one of the Paul brothers had a song, "Everyday Guy" or something. You ever hear that? It's awful. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
Like, as in, like Logan or Jake?
Yes.
That sounds like it would be awful. I have to hear it.
You do need to hear it. It's no land law, but it is an earworm.
But what is?
Or no, it's "Everyday Bro." That was the song. Awful song. Anyway, so shout out to Tay-Tay. Here's the here's the deal on Derek Carr. Unfortunately, this move makes the most sense. But I do not say that as a stamp of approval, because I think this move makes the most sense, but what it does is reinforce how badly Mickey Loomis in the front office has screwed this up, right? To have a guy here that you are so committed to financially, and it's not just because his contract in and of itself, again, not the craziest, a bit of an overcommitment, you could argue, maybe not, but not the crazy, but it's his contract combined with the context of the cap as a whole, right? So everything's been so poorly managed that yes, this move makes the most sense. They are keeping Derek Carr, and this is a sign of a bad front office. They're not keeping Derek Carr because they want to keep Derek Carr. They're keeping Derek Carr because they have to keep Derek Carr, combined with because of the deal that Loomis made with Carr himself and all the other deals and misses and whatnot. So Derek Carr going to be your Saints quarterback in 2025.
Now, T-Bob, I mean, this is not likely to happen because of the money that they've already, given Carr, and we know what the number is and all that if you're going to keep him. But there is no rule that says that Spencer Rattler can't beat him out for the job. Now, it's not likely again, but we've seen it happen before in the NFL. We have seen a quarterback that got paid and the young guy just beats him out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at it in Atlanta, like Kirk Cousins, like his number and how big his number is. And, there's some reports that maybe they're okay with bringing him back. We'll see if that ends up happening, but it's Michael Penix's team. And I know Spencer Rattler wasn't a first round pick like Penix, but I'm just saying, just because you make more money, if it is a situation where they're like, we can't not play Spencer Rattler, either because he's been so good or Carr's been so bad in camp, that can happen in the NFL. It doesn't happen often, but it's not just in absolutes that Derek Carr, because he's on the roster, is going to be the quarterback.
So the problem there, though, is that we haven't really seen anything from Spencer Rattler that would make me feel that. And you mentioned the difference between Rattler and Penix. I mean, that's one difference. Also, Cousins objectively played way worse than Carr. 18 touchdowns to 16 picks last year. Carr was 15-5. Now, I know Carr's stats are a bit misleading, empty air, all that sort of stuff, and and it doesn't come in the context of like I get all of this, but I just do not see Spencer Rattler passing up Derek Carr. Like pure now maybe they're close, and you're like, okay, maybe during camp they seem close, or Derek Carr takes a step back because of age, or maybe Rattler's just way better than he looked at times last year. But that would seem highly unlikely to me that Spencer Rattler would pass up Derek Carr.
I'm with you, but I mean, we have seen it play out before. And gosh, I mean, you would hope that it would happen, honestly, because if it did happen, that would probably mean that Spencer Rattler went out there and earned it. But look, there's a lot of other quarterbacks that you could have on this roster that I think make so much more sense than Derek Carr. Like there was an ESPN.com article yesterday about Justin Fields possibly being the Saints quarterback, right? And I know that they just commit, like, no offense though, but like Mickey Loomis's word doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't. Not in February in Indianapolis. Like it doesn't mean anything right now. Like that can just be a placeholder. It's not like we haven't heard people get up on the podium and I don't, maybe they're lying, maybe they're not, or maybe they just don't know right now and they're just giving you what you want to hear. So it's not 100%. And I started to think about it. I'm like, you know what? And so Fields has a club option, I believe, with the Steelers. So maybe you would have to trade for him. Maybe they deny that. Maybe you could sign him. But if I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what? Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, what would kind of be the great value version of that? Justin Fields and AK. Like that would be, and that's not throwing like slights at AK. I'm just saying, like, at this point in his career, he's still a really good running back, but he's not Saquon Barkley. Well, Justin Fields has some Jalen Hurts traits. Could Kellen Moore run it back? Now, the offensive line would have to be improved. Now, you've put a lot of stock into this offensive line. They would have to go up because the Eagles' offensive line is so good. But I'm like, you know what? For a Kellen Moore offense that we just saw, I wouldn't hate Justin Fields and Alvin Kamara, and depending on who you add as a running back, we talked about maybe Ashton Genty being the pick at number 9. Just think if you had that combination with what Moore just did was, somewhat of a similar skill set in quarterback and running back, I could get way more excited about the possibility of that than running it back with Derek Carr.
So I think the problem there is the problem why, despite the fact that re-signing Carr is a PR disaster, he's not enough of a playing disaster to warrant, I think, the money issues that would arise if you were to move on from him. Because there's just no good way to move on. I mean,
and if that's the case, then just be ready for another 7-win at best season. And that's what the Saints have to be okay with. They have to know that's going to be their ceiling with Derek Carr at quarterback.
I think that's their ceiling with Justin Fields at quarterback. I think it's their ceiling with Spencer Rattler at quarterback. I disagree with that.
I think you would have to. I'm not saying they would win 12 games, but I think it would be different enough. And Kellen Moore just had success with a similar combination where you could hide some of your deficiencies with that style of quarterback, where you can't really do it with Derek Carr, because Derek Carr needs a clean pocket. He needs really good receivers to go help him out, right? But if you kind of get this offense together, you get some of your receivers back and they're healthy, they're good enough to be the pieces that we're talking about. And you kind of hide some of those deficiencies if you have a quarterback that, has the ability to create on his own.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think Fields has really been any good either in the NFL. I mean, I do get the different skill set thing combined with the context of Moore's offense last year, but then I also, like you alluded to,
he's pretty good last year at the beginning with the Steelers. But I mean, I'm not saying he's Jalen Hurts by any means. That's why I said great value.
Well, yeah, no, and it's also like the other thing you alluded to, right, is the offensive line, the defensive line. Like that's maybe the best Philly roster that Philly roster is one of the best rosters we've seen in recent NFL memory. I think that you just have to swallow the bitter pill, deal with Carr at quarterback, and that will allow you to make maybe a couple of free agent signings, not big signings, but maybe add a couple of pieces that could be pieces going forward into a larger rebuild. What I am a little worried about, though, Jake, is I think even if you keep Derek Carr, I think you're still going to have to restructure him. So I don't think you want him counting for the full $50 million against cap this year, which means adding voidable years and putting off money into the future, which means almost no matter what, that at some point, likely next year, whenever, you will be paying, you will have Derek Carr not on the team and probably count for like $10 million against the cap. Like, you're not going to let him play at that full number this year, and that is a bit frustrating. But again, I think this makes the most sense, and I do not use that as a stamp of approval. I use that as a point of condemnation about how mismanaged everything has been, from the cap to this contract, draft, everything. So, in all likelihood, not a guarantee, but in all
looking
likelihood,
forward to September.
Derek Carr going to be. I mean, hey, like, if you want to go glass half full, that's a great thing about a new football season. It's a bit like Schrodinger's cat. I'm going to argue the cat's alive, because you got a new coach, Kellen Moore, and he's a good quarterbacks coach, and he's going to be able to make the most of what Derek Carr has left to offer. So you can choose to believe that if you want to. Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.